Of the Republican Party that likes Nikki Haley, and they are reluctant to jump into your column. She wants to help. She said, if he calls me, I'm there. You guys used to be tight. In the last 18 days, will you call her and say, come out with me?
Yeah, I'll do what I have to do. But let me just tell you, Nikki Haley and I fought, and I beat her by 50, 60, 90 points.
Donald Trump appeared on Fox and Friends this morning, and it was anything but friendly. Because as we know, Donald Trump is increasingly aggrieved and increasingly out of control. And we saw that after Donald Trump was confronted by one of the hosts, he immediately started spiraling and not only attacking the host on the panel this morning, but the entire network of Fox. Yes, Donald Trump was furious, losing his mind and unhinged. And we are going to get into all of that before we do. If I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and want to join the community that we're building right here, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this interview in which Donald Trump lost it with one of the craziest things he said right here.
To put anyone that doesn't look white in camps, and I'm scared. And she says, yeah. So you've hit on a really important point. What is your response and what is your closing argument?
Well, first of all, the question is a pretty rough question because, you're giving this whole argument of this woman that I don't think she knows where she is. She's a low IQ person. She's not smart. Everyone knows that. Didn't even pass her law exam. It was a big thing. She never thought she was going to be able to pass it. If you tell me this stuff, I'll say it. I am a person that they are a threat to democracy. These people are misinformation people. They'll say, let's go out with this one. They've tried many different things. They tried, he's a dictator. He's going to take over the whole world. He's a this. Every week they try something else. So far it hasn't worked. I guess that's the attack they have for this week. It doesn't seem to be working. I am the most stable human being. Remember, they said a stable genius. I am the most stable human being. I've been doing this for a long time. We had 4 years of greatness. We had the greatest economy in history. We had the greatest border. Brian, you were down there.
Absolutely.
We had a border that was the best we've ever had in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. I built 551 miles of wall, which is far more than I said I was going to build when I campaigned. I had a border where the drugs were at the lowest level, the human traffickers in women, they traffic in women. Everything was at the lowest level. I got kudos from, the Border Patrol gave me, with thousands of people, unanimous, every single one.
They endorsed you, Mr. President.
They endorsed me. What can you do better than that?
And, Mr. President,
I don't think when the mainstream media even is talking about your cognitive decline, and it is the #1 issue of the candidate opposing you to talk about how much in decline you are, to talk about how deranged you are, to talk about how unfit you are, you shouldn't be calling yourself a stable genius. But the projection from Donald Trump is just out of control at this point. He continues to use this personal attack on VP Harris, which is of course not landing, to say that she's not a smart person. She has a low IQ. It just makes him look ridiculous. And it's incredibly off-putting to voters. Even the Republican voters who are tuning in on Fox, Donald Trump is only doing damage to himself, with a group of soft Republicans tuning in who can just tell how crazed he is at this point. And speaking of those soft Republicans, Donald Trump was asked about Nikki Haley and Nikki Haley voters. And boy, did he not like that subject absolutely melting down. Let's take a look.
Of the Republican Party that likes Nikki Haley, and they are reluctant to jump into your column. She wants to help. She said, if he calls me, I'm there. You guys used to be tight. In the last 18 days, will you call her and say, come out with me?
Yeah, I'll do what I have to do. But let me just tell you, Nikki Haley and I fought, and I beat her by 50, 60, 90 points. I beat her in her own state by numbers that nobody's ever been beaten by. I beat Nikki badly. I beat everyone else, too, badly. Frankly, I set records, both in speed and in the magnitude of the win. And everybody keeps saying that. They don't say get Ron, and Ron did very well. But again, I beat everybody by numbers that have never happened before. And they keep talking about Nikki. I like Nikki. Nikki, I don't think should have done what she did, and that's fine that she did it. But even in her own state, in South Carolina, where she was the governor, I beat her by a number that nobody
Right,
ever
and
heard,
she
by
dropped out.
50 points or something. And then they say, oh, when is Nikki coming back in? Nikki is in. Nikki is helping us already. But it's just, people keep saying, when do you bring, they don't say, when are you bringing this, when is that? Everybody is in, and Nikki is already in. You know, she's out campaigning. And Elon Musk is, look, I watched a rocket ship land 4 days ago.
That was stunning.
I watched.
So first of all, let's be clear, finishing your answer about why Nikki Haley isn't campaigning for you with I saw a rocket is not representative of someone who is stable up here. This is the cognitive decline that we're talking about with Donald Trump. This is his so-called weave, as he says. But we really know what it is. It is incompetent and out of control, rambling. When he gets attacked, when he gets a topic brought up that he doesn't like clearly, like Nikki Haley and her voters who are moving towards VP Harris, he just can't help but really jump around a host of subjects because he can't focus. The anger drives him so crazy that he cannot focus on the subject that he needs to. And yeah, Nikki Haley and her voters are a big issue for Donald Trump because she continues to take shots at him, continues to call him unfit, even though she's supposedly campaigning for him, and he cannot stand it. It's why he continues to attack her, and it's why we see all this anger and all these attacks and threats coming out of Donald Trump like we saw right here.
To retire.
Okay, Mr.
he'd be-
President, here's what
he'd be
bothers
central casting.
here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land,
Then
and
we
that
don't send
curriculum
them-
comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget.
Okay.
We need to understand that this is the new baseline for Donald Trump. Anyone who disagrees with him, they lose their funding. Anyone who opposes him, they're an enemy from within, and he's going to sick the military on them. This is Donald Trump. Now he is fully taking his dictator on day one and for forever. If he wants to dictator forever, if he wants to, that's his full form. That's what he wants. And he's acting like it. The iron fist that Kim Jong-un rules with, that Donald Trump has talked about before, he wants that. And he's acting like it. And it should scare us all because he is increasingly out of control and increasingly extreme. This is what happens to someone in cognitive decline. They can only think in extremes. They can only think in vengeance and anger in grievance. And Donald Trump, a textbook narcissist, is making that incredibly clear, as we can see right here.
I think I do very well with women, and I think it's all nonsense. I see the polls, and we do well.
What about the
You
Nikki
have
Haley?
one issue. You have the issue of abortion. Without abortion, the women love me. Now, they like me anyway because what I've done is so good. I've taken this issue out of the federal government.
I don't think there is anything that is further from the truth in this election than the idea that women love Donald Trump. Donald Trump, really? Donald, have you met yourself? Are you aware of your record? Are you aware of your presidency? Are you aware of your Supreme Court? Are you aware that you have said multiple times you were the person in this world singularly most responsible for the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and now Donald Trump trying to turn that back, trying to backtrack and say that he's the father of IVF, which was what invented in 1978, and in claim that he is pro-reproductive freedom. We know this isn't true. You can't backtrack. We know who you are. Everyone else does, and you're a pathological liar, just making yourself look even worse. But speaking of Donald Trump being made to look bad, we have been talking about how Donald Trump has been going to war with Fox and attacking them over the way that they have been representing him in the very few instances in which the truth is told about Donald Trump. And clearly, he was not scared to bring that up on Fox and Friends because he did a really crazed way right here.
The question.
But you know the difference? In the old days, you never played negative ads. In other words, when I leave here, I'll then be hit by 5 or 6 ads. And in the old days, you never had
You
Ian
mean Fox
Sams.
News?
Yeah. Well, in the old days. But in the old days, which wasn't so... when I leave, I'll have 12 people from Kamala on, and, you know, pretty much unopposed. for 19 days, I don't think we should do that anymore. I think that you shouldn't play negative ads. It's very tough. You do a show, and I complain all the time about it. I loved complaining. I love complaining. I like to have everything perfect.
He's really out of control. First of all, I love complaining. Yeah, I think we're aware of that. I think we kind of came to that conclusion independently of you having to tell us, but he is just airing out the grievances on live television instead of answering questions or trying to appeal the voters. And again, I know it's on Fox, but there still are soft Republicans who VP Harris could possibly win. But instead of focusing on them, he's focusing on his own grievance and telling us about it, telling us that he loves complaining, mad about the negative ads, mad about Jessica Tarlow, and any of the other few in far between hosted Fox who will actually say a bit of truth. But Donald Trump is clearly not happy about that and is why he continued to attack Fox right here.
Mr. President, you're going to be back on the campaign. Actually, you got another event to go to. So
Yeah, he's
thank you
very
for giving
busy.
us some
So thank
time.
You know what
so
the
much.
event I have now?
No.
A very big event. I'm going to see Rupert Murdoch.
All right.
That's a big event. I don't know if
That's
he's
important.
thrilled that I say it.
Please, yeah, please tell
And
him
I'm
we
gonna
also
tell
thank
him,
you.
I'm going to tell him something very simple
Go ahead.
because I can't talk to anybody else about it. Don't put on negative commercials for 21 days. Don't put them, and don't put on their horrible people that come and lie. I'm going to say, Rupert, please do it this way.
Right.
And then we're going to have a victory because I think everyone wants to have
And
a
you're going to Outkick
Outkick
next.
to
It's,
talk
it's
to
a
him.
great channel that we have with Tyrus.
Oh, good.
Calling them horrible people to their face is quite the campaign strategy. He's just attacking Fox. Now the host that he's talking to, the network as a whole, Rupert Murdoch. I'm not a fan of any of those people, but man, he is just out of control. This is an individual completely unfit to be president. He's completely unfit to be in charge of anything. I wouldn't let Donald Trump water my plants. Like, this is a guy who is so deranged and so disturbed and needs to be defeated. And we are going to continue to talk about that every single day on the show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you're stuck around the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.